The Jurassic Park series is one of the most successful franchises in cinematic history. The first movie was actually the highest grossing film for a time, before Titanic stomped all over it. So in honor of Jurassic World hitting cinemas, let's take a look at 50 Jurassic Park facts. Most of which relating to the best in the series, that episode of Sliders where they went to the dinosaur dimension. No, not really, the first one. Also that thing I said about it being the highest grossing film, yeah, that's the first fact. Because let's not waste perfectly good facts. Especially not when for some reason committing to 50. One of the reasons Steven Spielberg decided to take on the project was because he wanted to make a modern day King Kong. Though he never thought that it'd live up to its legacy. I think it's a better movie though. For one, they forgot to put colour in King Kong. Massive oversight. James Cameron was said to have wanted to direct the project, but Spielberg bought the rights hours before he could bid. Plus he already had a relationship with the book's author, Michael Crichton. Cameron later admitted that his version would have been more violent, but not as good. Spielberg initially went to the guy who built the Universal Studios King Kong animatronic in order to see if he could create realistic, life-size dinosaurs. Despite this, he settled on Stan Winston Studios, who constructed, among others, a 12,000-pound animatronic T-Rex. Not like 12,000 English pounds, or maybe it was. It's hard to say, really. Initially, for the scenes that required full unaided dinosaur movement, go motion, an updated version of stop motion, was to be employed. Spielberg's kids, they loved it, but he wasn't convinced and searched for ulterior methods. CGI was settled on after a skeletal Gallimimus test was completed. When he saw this, Phil Tippett, who was in charge of the now defunct Go Motion, said, "I think I'm extinct." A variation of that line was used in the final film. That's not the one.
We're out of a job. Don't you mean extinct?
Yep, that's it. Before this, CGI had not been used to bring to life living, breathing creatures. Only effects, like the T-1000 from Terminator 2, and that stained glass window that sprung to life in Young Sherlock Holmes. A movie that nobody has heard of. Phil Tippett made himself useful by employing his stop-motion skills to input movement on electronic dinosaur models, which were then translated directly into a computer. In the end, Jurassic Park used both CGI and animatronics for a total of 15 minutes of dinosaur action. It breaks down to about 9 minutes of animatronics and 6 minutes of CGI. The animators took mime classes to get natural animalistic movements down pat, and they would even go out and replicate dinosaurs in the car park. Ha ha! What a dickhead! Animals like rhinos, ostriches, and elephants were also used for movement reference. Spielberg made the demand that dinosaurs appear in handheld shots, a very difficult task as opposed to using just static shots. In total, there were 50 CGI shots that required 3 rooms of computers just crushing it. The action scenes were planned out using clay animatics, and are pretty much beat for beat in the final movie. Jack Horner, world-renowned paleontologist, was hired to advise on the project. He pushed for more bird than lizard-like dinosaurs, and put a stop to things like raptors having flickering lizard tongues. Harrison Ford was offered the role of Alan Grant, which he obviously turned down. After seeing the movie, he said, "I made the right choice, though I don't know what he based that on." Does he hate Jurassic Park? Why do you hate everything, Harrison Ford? Some of the other potential casting choices were Sandra Bullock as Ally Sattler, Christina Ricci as Lex, Sean, I openly admit to hitting women, Connery as John Hammond, and Jim Carrey as Ian Malcolm. Really? That's the worst! Joseph Mazzarello was promised a role in the film after Steven Spielberg deemed him too young to star in Hook. In the end, Spielberg opted to cast really good natural actors as opposed to movie stars. Most of the outdoor scenes were filmed in Hawaii, which doubled for Costa Rica, and the rest was shot in California. The T-Rex attack location was actually replicated at Warner Brothers Studios. So in the daytime, it's Hawaii, and at night, it's indoors in California. The vibrating glass of water, which heralded the arrival of the T-Rex, was the most difficult in-camera practical effect to achieve. It was done so by feeding a guitar string under the dash and plucking it. In sequences such as this, where the T-Rex is all CGI, water was filmed separately and then composited in. This was in order to blend the T-Rex in with its environment. The infamous guy gets eaten off the toilet scene had him subtly replaced with a CGI double as he gets chomped down on. And this guy was really excited about it.
A real T-Rex would, when he would yank him into the air and shake him to like break all the bones in his body so, you know, he can kill him and eat him.
Yeah, okay, calm down, Psycho. The T-Rex wouldn't operate properly when wet, which is a shame considering it had an entire sequence in the rain. As it got more and more waterlogged, its weight would shift and it would begin to shudder, sometimes even springing to life when it wasn't being operated. But people weren't worried because it wasn't a real dinosaur. None of the dinosaurs were real dinosaurs. Despite this well-known fact, outrage was sparked just a few years back when this photo was posted on Facebook, jokingly claiming that this unnamed poacher shot and killed a Triceratops. Now, just so we're clear, that's director Steven Spielberg with an animatronic Triceratops, a breed of dinosaur that's been extinct since the late 1970s. Steven Spielberg provided the on-set vocals for some of the dinosaurs. That's pretty weird. In this scene, Lex's stunt double's face was clearly visible, so it was digitally replaced using digital face replacement technology, which by now most likely has a proper technical name. Probably Face Off. I don't know. The original end sequence had Alan Grant in the Jurassic Park lobby operating the T-Rex skeleton as a sort of marionette, and he used that to crush the raptors. The final action sequence of the T-Rex saving the day was added very late in the game, as Spielberg wanted it to have one more appearance, as he considered it the star of the film. In your face, Sam Neill! This actually makes sense though, because it just comes out of nowhere, like a goddamn ghost. How the hell does it sneak up on everyone? And how did it get inside? This movie is dumb! Nah, that's great. Spielberg wanted all the dinosaurs to make more animalistic noises, so when they roar, it wouldn't be something akin to Godzilla. For example, the Velociraptors used both the sound of a dolphin squeal and a walrus, and scenes like this was simply a regular dog with a toy rope. John Williams' score was written to invoke awe and wonder, an achievement he definitely succeeded in. Let's take a quick listen. Like many of Spielberg's films, this wrapped shooting early, by 12 days in this case. This is often due to Spielberg's tendency to shoot longer shots, meaning there's less setup required. When the special effects were being completed, Spielberg began filming Schindler's List, which also came out in 1993. The film was cut in its entirety before any computer effects were added. Spielberg did this to ensure that he had an amazing film with or without the CGI. Spielberg took a break after this and Schindler's List. His next film would be 1997's The Lost World. His reasoning for directing a sequel, something he rarely does, was because he had such a good time on the first. Spielberg agreed that if there ever was a third film, he would hand over the directing reins to Joe Johnston, director of Captain America, I'm the Captain of America, and designer of Boba Fett. And he did! In the late 90s, there was a proposed Jurassic Park TV series called Chaos Effect that included dinosaurs that had been crossbred. Something we'll actually be seeing in part 4. The toy line was too far along when the series was cancelled, so we still got that. Total garbage, apparently. The fourth movie was at one point to feature human-dinosaur hybrids, a concept we will thankfully never see brought to life. Ha! Your ass, Park! Very good. Jurassic World is the first Jurassic Park film not to use Stan Winston Studios, who passed away in 2008. Instead, they went with Legacy Effects, a company formed from Winston's former workshop staff. According to director Colin Trevorrow, the film is a direct sequel to the original, pretty much ignoring the events of the second and third, but they are still considered canon. Alright, that'll do it. Now if you like this, maybe you'll like this video on 20 actors who were very nearly Captain America. And perhaps you could even check out my podcast, The Weekly Planet. It covers movies, TV shows, comics, wigs sometimes. At least those 4 things. Also, we've just recorded a Jurassic Park commentary track, which you can find on my Patreon page if you donate literally any amount of money, or at Bandcamp where you can buy it or just play it for free. All of that stuff I said, I'll link below or at the end of this video. I'm curious though, what's your favorite Jurassic Park moment? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you like, leave them in the comments. Alright, thanks everyone. Take care.